The house stood at the end of Willow Creek Road. It was a tall, gaunt Victorian structure with peeling paint and boarded-up windows. The front porch sagged dangerously, as if about to collapse under the weight of its secrets. The house had stood empty for nearly a century, and in that time it had earned a reputation for being haunted. Locals whispered tales of a family that had vanished without a trace within its walls. They spoke of strange lights and sounds coming from the house at night. Some claimed to have seen figures moving in the windows. No one dared to go near the place. Not after dark, not anymore. The house was a scar on the landscape, a constant reminder of the darkness that lurked beneath the surface of the ordinary. It was a place where fear took root and blossomed, where the past refused to die, and on this night it would claim new victims. The tragedy of the Van Derlyn family was the stuff of local legend. In the early 1900s, the family had resided in the house on Willow Creek Road. They were a prominent family, wealthy and respected in the community. Then, one cold November night, they disappeared without a trace. Theories abounded about their fate. Some whispered of a family curse, a darkness that followed the Van der Lyns like a shadow. Others spoke of a jealous rival, driven to madness and murder. The truth, however, remained elusive, lost to time and speculation. The missing family became a local ghost story, a cautionary tale whispered around campfires and late-night sleepovers. Their memory lingered in the air, a palpable presence that clung to the house on Willow Creek Road like cobwebs. It was a dare, of course, that brought them to the house. Four friends, restless and bored on a Friday night, looking for a thrill. There was Jake, the ringleader, always pushing the limits. Emily, the skeptic, trying to mask her fear with bravado. Ben, the quiet one, observing everything with wide, watchful eyes. And finally, there was Chloe, drawn to the darkness, seeking something she couldn't quite name. They parked down the road, a safe distance from the house. The night air was thick with the smell of damp earth and decaying leaves. Crickets chirped in the darkness, their song a constant, unnerving rhythm. As they approached the house, their laughter died down, replaced by a heavy silence. The dare was simple: spend 1 hour inside the house, no flashlights allowed. Easy enough, they thought, their youthful arrogance blinding them to the danger that lurked within those crumbling walls. They were young, and they didn't believe in ghosts. Not yet. The front door creaked open, a groan of protest after years of neglect. The air inside was heavy and still, thick with the smell of dust and decay. Moonlight filtered through the gaps in the boarded-up windows, casting long dancing shadows across the floor. They moved cautiously through the house, their footsteps echoing in the silence. Each room was a tableau of forgotten lives. A toppled chair, a dusty gramophone, a child's doll lying abandoned on the floor. The house breathed with a life of its own, its silence broken only by the occasional creak of the floorboards beneath their feet. As they ventured deeper into the house, the air grew colder, sending shivers down their spines. Whispers seemed to emanate from the walls, too faint to decipher but impossible to ignore. The darkness pressed in on them, suffocating, oppressive. Fear, once a distant whisper, began to take root in their hearts. They found the wooden box in the attic, tucked away in a dusty corner. It was a simple cedarwood chest, unadorned and unremarkable, except for the weight of its contents. The latch creaked open, releasing the scent of time and decay. Inside, nestled amongst yellowed lace and faded velvet, lay a single photograph. The photograph was a portrait of a family, a man, a woman, and a young girl. They were dressed in their finest clothes, their faces frozen in time. But it was their eyes that held the friends captive. The eyes were hollow, devoid of life, reflecting a darkness that chilled them to the bone. As they stared at the photograph, a cold draught swept through the attic, extinguishing their single candle and plunging them into darkness. A child's laughter echoed through the house, high-pitched and filled with an unnatural glee. Panic welled up inside them, choking, suffocating. They were trapped. The photo slipped from Chloe's trembling fingers, fluttering to the attic floor. In the sudden darkness, fear became a living, breathing thing. It whispered in their ears, tugged at their clothes, breathed down their necks. They scrambled for their phones, desperate for the reassuring glow of their screens. But the devices remained stubbornly dark, their batteries mysteriously drained. They were alone in the darkness, at the mercy of whatever unseen force was toying with them. Then, as quickly as it had begun, the laughter ceased. A heavy silence descended upon the attic, broken only by the panicked gasps of the four friends. They huddled together, their bodies trembling, their eyes wide with terror. They had come to the house seeking a thrill, but they had found something far more sinister. Panic took over. They stumbled blindly through the house, their hands outstretched, searching for an escape. The darkness seemed to shift and twist around them, a labyrinth of shadows and unseen obstacles. The air grew thick with the smell of damp earth and something else, something ancient and evil. They tumbled out of the house and into the night, their lungs burning, their hearts pounding. They didn't stop running until they reached the safety of Jake's car. They piled in, slamming the doors shut, their chests heaving. As Jake fumbled with the keys, a single high-pitched scream pierced the night. They turned back to look. The house stood silhouetted against the horizon, its windows dark and empty. But for a fleeting moment, they could have sworn they saw a face in the attic window, a pale, gaunt face with eyes that glowed an unnatural yellow. They never spoke of that night again. The experience had shaken them to their core, leaving them with a lingering sense of dread. They had gone to the house on Willow Creek Road seeking a thrill, but they had found something far more terrifying than they could have ever imagined. The house remained a constant reminder of the darkness that lurked beneath the surface of the ordinary. And though they tried to forget, the memory of that night, the terror, the despair, the chilling laughter stayed with them, a haunting reminder that some doors are better left unopened. The house on Willow Creek Road stood alone, its secrets buried deep within its walls. It was a place of shadows and whispers, where the past refused to die, and it waited patiently for its next victims.